Okie dokie. So yesterday, found out that my switch is wrong, and then when I went to modify the panel, found out that my modification wasn't going to work. So I'll need to modify it some more, raise the switch even higher, or cut a new hole altogether. I was originally thinking the switch would go really nicely right here, but try to stick with somewhat of a theme. So Josh likes to put things right, other things, which isn't a bad thing, you know, makes things line up nicely, but in this case it kind of messes me up, so I'm going to have to raise the switch up another 5 or so millimeters, drill a couple new holes, and then hopefully I'll be able to mount this thing. And also, I kind of made a mistake in the way I was thinking all this went together, so I will have to rewire this whole section a little bit. Oops. Hey Josh, how's it going? Or not. I thought I saw Josh. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Looks like it's coming together.
Yeah, I just need to get this hole a little bit adjusted so I can mount the AC switch.
Nice.
Edit the wiring a little bit because for some strange reason I thought the switch was going in a different spot. Not a big deal, it shouldn't take too long, and then I might actually be able to power it up. Isn't that exciting?
Ooh, cool.
So,
yeah, it looks super close.
Yep. So I'm gonna cut the slot up. I'll probably go 6 millimeters just to make sure I got some clearance, even though I think it should be 5. But
Cool. Are you using Duet 2 or 3? It's been a while.
3.
3?
Yep.
Okay. I have to figure out what configs people are using. Maybe I can get them on GitHub.
Yeah, I'm starting off with Daniel's config, and then I'm going to have to modify it a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been able to get my hands on a Duet 3 and a separate machine for another piece of research, so I'll try to get something up soon, but I'm a bit landlocked right now.
I can't imagine why. Yeah, my state just went on lockdown too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan, so we are officially in lockdown.
Alas, yeah, same with Seattle.
Yeah, I think you were probably one of the first, weren't you?
Well, not exactly. They just officially announced it today.
Oh, I thought you were already in official lockdown. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a recommendation, I think.
Ah. Okay, so yeah, we're riding the wave together then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I started this project when I did, because I'm not getting any more parts for a while, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was impressed the mail actually is still running. I got a shipment of PLA from Protopasta. I was kind of surprised.
Well, the mail is one of those services that are deemed critical and should not be stopping. You know, it's critical for many reasons, but if we're going to salvage anything out of this economic crisis, it's going to be through mail order. I mean, people can have relatively little contact with each other, but aside from vanity items and things, I think there are more important things traveling through the mail too.
That's true. I was looking at specs for some of the masks that people are trying to recreate, and it turns out that DigiKey had one of the hoses, and I was like, huh, I wonder if, because I wanted to know the dimensions of the connector that the hose connects into, so I figured I'd just order a hose and then CAD something that clicks into it and then send that out for people. But
Yeah,
I think the best thing I can do right now is stay home.
interesting side note, our CEO is actually talking about trying to make some machines to make masks.
Oh, very cool. I've forgotten what you do.
I'm a controls engineer, so I
There we go.
program PLCs and robots basically.
Nice. Ladder logic?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mostly Allen Bradley RS Logix 5000, but I also do Siemens when I have to. I've done GE, Mitsubishi.
Okay. Yeah,
So
when I was at my last job, they were switching to Beckhoff.
back off? I've never programmed a back off.
It's different. It's like an actual language. But there was also quite a bit of training before people were able to actually use it.
I also do some C programming. Oh darn it! I just realized that the extension cable I'm looking for I just used on my work computer that I just stationed at home today. So
Ah,
now I have to find a different extension cable. Good job, Eric. Yeah, I was lucky. I ordered a table for pickup at Walmart, and I get to Walmart. I've never done it before, and then she's like, "Oh, did you check your email?" I'm like, "Oh, no, that'd probably been a good idea." I checked my email, it said my order was canceled, and I'm like,
oh,
"No," but then they didn't have the table I wanted, but they had one almost identical to it, so I was lucky.
okay. Yeah.
They're probably all gone by now. Everybody who had the same idea as me, of course. I'm going to make some noise, so I'm going to mute myself here in just a minute, but
You're
feel free to keep
capable.
talking, though.
I will continue clicking away.
I just got to lengthen this slot a little bit. Shouldn't take me more than a couple minutes. Oh, here. Why not? Um, there we go. I can kind of see what I'm doing, if you're curious.
Yeah. Fish.
Okay, I'm muting myself, but I can still hear.
Cool. What just happened? I'm talking to myself with some CAD.
Yeah, I assume so, and we all do that. On a side note, I did get into that EAA club or EEA or whatever it was, where you can
Oh,
download the
sweet.
SolidWorks.
Yeah.
So I haven't done it yet, but it's on my agenda one of these days to actually get into the SolidWorks.
That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah, I've been kind of telling them that we really ought to look into some other fields aside from automotive for a while. Kind of,
What's that?
I've been trying to hint that we
For
should get,
manufacturing?
yeah, because we're pretty much do almost all of our work for automotive.
Okay. So how does that work? Are you a general purpose manufacturing line?
So we sell equipment that we design,
Okay.
and all of our designs right now are in automotive. So basically, it's the only customers we've developed any relationship with is automotive, and
Gotcha.
I've been trying to hint that we should get into the food industry because even during a recession, people still need to eat. And if we put all of our eggs into automotive, it's could have issues down the line. And they want to. And I think this mask thing, well, I'm assuming the masks will give us some sort of grants or something like that to help our revenue streams probably through this time where we're going to be we're not going to make our deadlines, obviously. It's not possible. But so it's your capital is going to be a little bit of an issue, but I don't think we're in any danger per se.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point was I think the mask thing isn't just for humanitarian efforts, though I believe that is part of our CEO's desire. It's not just for greed or something like that. But I think it might be a way to try to maybe break into something else. And I guess these machines are potentially available to be already, like their designs are already available to build.
Okay.
I don't know what the intention is, if we're just going to build the machine and send it off, or if we're somehow supposed to make masks at our facility. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work exactly, but anyway, whatever program it is that he's looking into, it's theoretically, I don't think we're going to have to do a whole lot of engineering for. We should be able to get a hold of the plans.
That's honestly kind of nice because you kind of start from something that is very close to what you want.
Yeah, and wouldn't be the first time we built somebody else's design before. I mean, it's something that kind of happens. Like GM, for example, owns the designs for some machines, and they've had us build those machines for them before.
Okay, that makes sense. It's
but, yeah, primarily though, we build our machines and machines that, like, we kind of got into this manufacturing group over in Europe and China, and that's how I ended up spending 5 weeks in Belgium this last year, by the way.
cool. Well, actually, maybe not always, because some of my friends have been shipped overseas in various places, and they're never super enthused about doing it for too long.
Well, I didn't do it for 5 weeks straight. I did it for 5 weeks over the course of like 3 visits, I think it was.
Okay.
So, like, I think I had one 1-week visit and 2 2-week visits or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
So it's not. Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right. How are you guys doing?
Not too shabby. Still recovering.
H2B thinks I haven't shared my tool mounts. Oh.
Wait, no. Is that in random? Or is it in general?
It's in custom tools.
Oh.
I'll have to figure out where it is.
I was going to say, because your tool mounts are on your GitHub, which are available to...
share with E3D.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, the post above that is how they're taking different tools. They're taking they're kind of turning a blog post into multiple. They're creating a blog post out of multiple different like custom tools, I think, or something like that.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Which
I
is
didn't.
cool. Like, I'm not sure if they'd take Jubilee folk, but it is E3D compatible, so maybe they'll take it.
Yeah, who knows? It's like
Or
I don't
not.
know if it actually wants anything I've done. Anyway.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, doesn't E3D kind of support what we're doing here?
They do.
Not,
I mean, I think they do. I like to think that they do.
Sanjay's on the.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sanjay has been active on the forums, and I would think that if he didn't approve, he would have subtly said something by now.
That's fair. Okay.
And you also have him listed as a sponsor or something, don't you?
Well, I like to thank you for releasing the design.
Ah.
I mean, actually, he did send me a couple free parts, some like extruder parts, and yeah.
All right, there you go. I just received my order from Triangle Labs today, so I have 4 Titan arrows now, with a ton of bits and pieces. And I got my titanium heat brakes last week, so yeah, now I've got all the parts for 4 Titan arrows. Not that I know what I'm going to do with them, but now I've got some air direct triggers.
I have 2 Titan arrows sitting on the desk right now. It was an upgrade from my old machine that I was working on, and maybe someday I'll get back to.
Yeah, Josh, you feeling all right? You sound really stuffy tonight.
I think I'm on like the tail end of feeling better. I mean, we're gonna stay home for. Well, I mean, I have to stay home for the next few days, but I will probably stay home for like a week at least because this is like day 2. I should probably stay home for like 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
I don't really have anywhere to go, but no, it's just I think it's just a cold. But who knows? It could be something else. And regardless, it makes sense to stay home. Everybody else is out and about.
Yep. Yeah. Don't give it to anybody. Don't get it from anybody.
Yeah, I will cover my mouth when I sneeze over here.
So anyway, I am so far behind because I've been busy all day. Yeah, I've got like 150 messages behind. So.
This is work?
No, I'm just looking at the. Just in the Discord, the Discord, 22 new messages there, 25 new messages there.
I tend to skim those when there's so many.
The problem is just invariably you miss something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like somebody makes a reference to it, and then it's like I have no idea what you're talking about. So, yeah. Levi, get down. There you, dude, that was really clumsy. So Levi was watching the reflection of what you're doing in the TV.
Oh.
And he was trying to decide if he was going to jump up there and I have made the mistake of putting birds on the big screen, and then that was like that's a mistake. Because he'll get up there and bat at the screen, and like, yeah, I really don't want that. So I have never put a Titan together, right? And I'm looking at and going, there's a lot of bits and pieces to this, and a lot of it is, and I don't really want to do it where I'm at right now. Is that a whole box of screws on the desk? Just open and waiting to hit the floor? Yep.
Titan the Titans aren't that hard to put together. So
I didn't think they were. I'm just sitting in my chair. Mischief, get off the desk. What is this? Okay, as soon as I sit down and start to relax, They all want to get up on things that I have parts all scattered or bound on.
Naturally. That is the definition of cat.
Pretty much. Also, one of my Raspberry Pi 4s got a
Has a bad what?
had bad HDMI, micro HDMI on it.
Oh, that's too bad.
It has two, though, right?
Yeah, but it's fine. The 2 gig Pi, not so much. That's the one I got them both from Adafruit right before they shut down operations. So I'm gonna do a little troubleshooting and see what I can do with it, but otherwise I'll put it on.
Yeah, I really don't have any backups per se, so if anything doesn't work, I'm kind of hosed. Aha.
Cross section of the notebook. Throw it up in the chat. So, any I know we were talking a little bit last night about safety and thermal cutoffs and whatnot. Any considerations or thought to approaching Canovo?
Oh, I would reach out and see what they have. I mean, I think at the very least, I might be able to ask them for, hey, could you make the wires this amount long? And then send me the specs for particular the type of photograph wire they use.
Yeah.
That would be cool, because I think if people end up, or can you put a connector on the wire at this location? That would be cool.
Well, the other thing is you can ask at the time of construction, because they make them all, being as these particular ones need no holes cut in them, right? So
Yeah.
they go the bed, on the bottom of the bed, there's no through holes to them.
Oh, the one that I have people link to in Amazon and Kinovo, the alternate link and the primary link, those both don't have screw holes.
Right, they don't have holes. That's the point I was making.
Okay.
But one of the things they can do is when you ask them for a custom build, right? You can ask them to build in a resettable thermal cutoff, and it's built right into the bed or into the heater.
Yeah, I'll have to ask them what sort of option they have.
There we go. There's my cross section. Ah, stop. Okay, that might have worked. So there's my build plate sandwich that I've been working on. I need to
Oh my goodness.
finish potting those wires.
Wow.
So I don't know if you can zoom in on that.
What an enormous sandwich.
So that's a 4mm aluminum plate, and then it's got the 1300 watt heater in it, and then 6mm of cork, and then another plate that was the first bed plate I got that was warped, but it's not so warped you can't use it as a pressure plate.
Hmm.
And then the 15 by 30 support brackets around the bottom.
How heavy is that thing?
It's heavy as shit. It's about as heavy as if you put a 4mm sheet of glass on it.
Heavy and delicate.
Mm-hmm. This printer is not a high-speed printer. It's just big. I mean, and it's also going to be running a 1mm nozzle on a Hemera with a Volcano. So, you know, the whole point is putting lots of plastic out fast. You know, lots of plastic out. You know, where you're still moving at only 50mm. So yeah, I don't know if that really gives you a good feel for just how big it is, but yeah. That's 510mm on the side.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's definitely more than one Boba Fett helmet. Actually, no, it might just still be one Boba Fett helmet.
It's one Boba Head helmet, yeah.
Okay.
But you can do it all in one piece. Actually, it's big enough that you can do an R2, a full-size R2 in one shot.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a great use case.
That is the ideal use case. And then you do the body cylinders and sections.
Right,
So
for me to disappear for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Will it blend? There we go.
What? Wait, what?
It's kind of a goofy YouTube channel.
Oh, I know about Will it blend. It's also like watching the slow-mo guys. It's fun when the slow-mo guys and Will it blend get together.
I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think it's been done. I just think it'd be awesome.
Oh. I thought you said it is fun.
Oh, no, I said it would be fun.
Yeah.
Now, watching Smarter every day, careful now. We don't want to watch you bleed on live stream.
I am nowhere close to bleeding at the moment.
Okay. So, yeah, I can imagine, like, you ever watch Smarter Every Day?
Yeah.
That's good. And then, come on, Brain. What's his name? Rober, Mark.
Oh yeah, Mark Rober.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've watched him. Heard the name though.
He's the former NASA engineer who did the Porch Pirate glitter bomb.
Oh, that's why it sounds familiar.
Fart spray and glitter bomb. There you go. He just did a video a couple of days ago, seeing germs, which was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've seen that pop up in the feed. I didn't watch it though.
He did an experiment with a class of third graders. Now, granted, one of the third graders was his kid, but he had the teacher in school's permission and all the students. So what they did is they went through and checked out, cleaned the classroom, and hit it with black light and everything like that, and make sure that they had a good starting point. And then they dusted the hands of the teacher lightly with a little bit of fluorescent powder, the ultrafine fluorescent powder.
Mm-hmm.
And she shook 3 of the students' hands as they were coming into the classroom. And then right before the lunch break, or right before recess or something, they came in and basically surveyed the classroom and the students. And the amount of transfer that occurred was ridiculous.
Ooh.
It was everywhere. Like, and the teacher knew about it, so, you know, she's like, I'm not going to touch my face, and got to be aware of things. And Yeah, not so much. Her face was covered with it because people touch their face a lot, even when they're trying not to. And so during the recess, he dusted one of the students' hands a little bit, and then sent it back into the classroom. And at the end of another reasonably short period of time, it's like everywhere. And then tried to get the kids to show, and they were being pretty diligent about washing their hands too. But for third graders, right? So yeah, it was everywhere. It's on the phones, it was on the desks, it was on the toys. Yeah, everywhere. It was all over the kids' faces.
So why does COVID-19 spread again?
Yeah, there you go. It's because it's like any other virus. We just happen to have some immunities to the other ones. You. If you watch anime at all, there's a fun one called Cells at Work.
An anime.
Yep.
Never heard of that one.
Cells at Work. Our protagonist is a red blood cell, anthropomorphized, of course. And
It sounds like Osmosis Jones.
almost, except said young red blood cell is not very good at finding her way around the circulatory system. She gets lost a lot. And then the one of the other major other protagonists is a white blood cell. But they do a really good job of teaching, anatomy and microbiology at the same time as they're having adventures. Like, oh look, the first episode is an abrasion. Yes. This poor body that they're in, and over the course of 12 episodes, just goes through hell.
So it's kind of like a modern or a Japanese version of the Magic School Bus.
Not really, but kinda. You get to meet macrophages and T cells and killer T cells and memory cells. I mean.
Well, yeah, focus mostly on just the interior.
Yeah, it's definitely just it's really about the circulatory system and essentially it's a circulatory system because they don't really talk about. I mean, the cells that you meet outside of the circulatory and defense stuff are basically residents. They have apartment blocks, and the red cells are delivering oxygen and taking away CO2, and some carry nutrients.
Oh, I have a burgundy shrimp. This thing is awesome looking.
What?
Hold on.
You're talking to your fish like I talk to my cat.
No, I wasn't talking to the shrimp. I was talking out loud about the shrimp.
Oh, seriously? Really? All right, fine. Yeah, so they've been sleeping for the last several hours. Now that's why they're up and about. They were all sacked out on different squishy things. It's funny. There's a lot more content that's been showing up on YouTube. Like people are doing stuff more frequently.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, that's cool. I think I really appreciate that.
You got folks like The Daily Show, Trevor Noah, straight from his couch.
Oh yeah.
I really don't know why Teaching Tech did that. Why Michael did the monoprice mini Delta. I mean, he did the mainboard conversion, but then he slapped in a bunch of big lipos, so you can throw a switch, pick it up, and carry it away.
I should have cropped the photo, but if you zoom in right between the two snails, it's kind of dark, but there's a shrimp there.
Look at their pictures. Ah, there he is.
she, actually.
Okay. There she is. Yeah, you don't want to put a mantis shrimp in anything like glass, right?
Mantis shrimp?
Yeah.
That is a whole different world. You can put them in an aquarium, but it has to be bulletproof.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
That's not a joke. It literally has to be bulletproof, not
What?
figuratively.
What?
Uh-huh.
What is this creature?
A mantis shrimp. It has the power of a 22 built into its claws. It can actually cavitate basically it can move its arms so fast it creates a vacuum.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So
yeah, and then as the bubble collapses, there's a tiny pinpoint where it gets something like 4,000 degrees Celsius or something like that. It's nuts.
Yeah, the water it creates a cavitation bubble that when it implodes,
Whoa.
you get a high temperature, and then it implodes and then explodes. It's like a fission fusion bomb. Hey, dude, Levi, no, seriously. He is now on trying to get on the TV. And sorry about that.
There is a couple different types of mantis shrimp. That particular type, they basically have a hammer, and they'll break open prey. They'll use the cavitation to stun their prey. It's a pretty interesting creature.
Stunned because on its own it wasn't enough to kill it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a lot of power, but really it's not enough to outright kill most sea creatures right off the bat. It's a very concentrated, powerful blow, but you'd be surprised at how much. They'll break open glass jars and stuff like that, but it takes a few hits before it can actually crack the carapace of say a crab or something like that.
Oh, okay. Now I understand why it needs that.
Yeah, and one of the other things that it does is its vision system.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy as to what it's got. I think it's got something like 6 different rods and cones.
No, 11.
Well,
it depends on the species, but the species, the particular brand of one you're looking at, but yeah, they have 11 rods and cones, and they can see polarized, every single type of polarized light there is to see. They can see, I mean, their eyes are crazy. They have the most advanced eyes in the animal kingdom. Yeah, they're just incredibly impressive little critters. Definitely check them out.
Yeah, and there are conspiracy theories that basically say they're extraterrestrial. So.
Oh God.
Well, okay. So the conspiracy theories and the biologists say the cephalopods are really weird.
Well, they say that if cephalopods didn't die after 3 years, they could very well become the most intelligent life form on the planet, or could have became the most intelligent life form on the planet. And they actually have a distributed brain. They have their main brain plus one in every tentacle, like a nerve cluster that can do some
pretty complex management.
What the heck? I keep hearing a banging. 1 second.
Yeah, you sure it's on your side, not coming from me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so maybe I'm just being overly cautious, but most of the mass of your printer is actually hanging off the edge.
No, it's not. Just a little tiny bit. It looks more than it is.
Okay, I'm just from Yeah, because it's like you got the two steppers in the back and all the electronics. Okay. I'm just thinking like.
Well, it's only this corner right here because it's at an angle.
Ah, okay.
The rest of the printer is fine.
I have banana bread, and they all want my banana bread. You can't have it.
Yeah, I can put most of my body weight on it, and it's not going anywhere. Anyway, I gotta check the camera. I wonder if the kid's making the noise. I don't know. Should be sleeping. It's been having trouble falling asleep lately.
Because you're home all the time.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it. He looks like he's sleeping.
So I downloaded and tried to load up the Duet Pi, and that's when I discovered the video output was shot. So first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to see if I can redirect it video 1 instead of video 0. HDMI 1. Hey buddy. And if that's being is that it shares an HDMI decoder chip or processor, it's probably not going to be. I'm probably not going to see it because it looks like a memory corruption issue or hardware fault. It's a $35 Pi. It's not like the power supply is bad because I use the same power supply on the other Pi 4.
To be fair, when I set up my Pi 3, I never plugged it into a screen. So it's totally usable.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely usable.
Yeah.
This is going to be the one that's going to be running the Brain C's. It's the one that's going to be attached to the Duet 3.
Sure.
So it needs some kind of
You would need some kind of what?
interface because that's how you control the Duet.
Yeah. So what I did is I took the image off the SD card and plugged it into my computer. So I just unplugged the SD card, plugged it into my computer, set it to a static IP address, and then at that point when I plugged into it, I could connect my computer over SSH via Ethernet.
Oh.
And then that's it.
Okay, so you were just SSHing into it, and your
Yeah,
network.
So the network is just a connection, the wired connection from my computer to the Pi.
Got it. Are you running a Duet 3 or Duet 2?
I have a Duet 3 set up on another machine, but I have yet to actually use it. I've only connected to it and tweaked the config settings.
Got it. Yeah, I don't know anything about the rest.
Yeah, the other thing too is that because, unless you're okay, so this is where you might want to sit, which is if you're going to physically attach a screen to the Duet 3, to run the browser, that would be a reason to use the HDMI. But I just plug it in. It's just a internet connection, and then you just open up a web page on your computer, and that's how I've been using it.
Okay, I'm sure that would work because I've got the idea. I mean, what I would just do is make sure I can set the IP address on the Pi.
Yeah, it's in.
I'll connect it to the Wi-Fi. That's easy.
Oh, that works too. Yeah, you can.
WPA.
You just have to. There's a file you have to edit on the Pi somewhere, or on the Pi's SD image somewhere, and then you edit it once, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, it's WPA.
I think you're right. It needs to be some other file in /etc, but I think it's been deprecated. So I think you're right. It's like WPA.
I do. I think I've got just where from where I'm sitting, I can see 6 Pis. Wait. Yeah, 6 of them. And I use Raspberry Pis a lot. Pi 0Ws a lot in my props, my starter props.
Oh right, of course.
So they most of the time, just for ease of programming, ease of configuration, they're running Node-RED. Are you familiar with Node-RED?
Node-RED. This sounds super familiar, but it's been a while. Let me Google
So
it.
it's a node-based drag and drop flow editor, function editor. You can create flows, multiple flows on the top, and each node is an action or does something. But
That's cool.
utilities that get in and out of the GPIOs and pass message, and it's all message traffic. So it's you're passing messages back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm taking GPIO inputs and outputs, sending and receiving, what we're also doing is using the MQTT protocol to talk to it, to the device, and take readings, read messages from it.
Okay.
So you've got an MQTT node, and you're just sending a message to that node, and it puts it out to the broker. And then our control software that controls the entire room has its own event system and device management. It's reading events from the device, from the prop, right? And sending control messages back to the prop to do stuff when, events are triggered. So we've taken a lot of the logic, a lot of the game logic out of the prop. So the prop is an I/O device.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, it's funny because it's basically what Eric does, but for his job with a different interface.
Yeah.
It's just in some way.
So, but we use MQTT a lot, and the devices that we can talk to it are, so far we support Z-Wave, MQTT, PLC, Modbus, Serial. I think there's a couple of other IOs that we can use as well.
Sure are a lot of bolts in the side panel.
Well, they need to be there because the side panels are providing shear resistance.
Right. I actually just ordered some more these drop-in nuts. I don't know if I misplaced a bag or what.
The drop-in.
I try to keep it pretty simple. I think it's like 4. It's like 2 per corner. 2, 3 per corner.
Well, there's 4 on the vertical.
Oh, you're right, though.
I'm not saying that there's an inappropriate number. I'm just saying that there's just a lot. Enough that I'm worried I won't have enough nuts.
Yeah, well, I will say that I ran my Jubilee for like a V2 for like a couple of months without side panels, and it was the part quality, the print quality was totally fine. The machine without side panels is okay. It's just drafts are what I would have problems with.
Oh yeah, I've got a friend of mine who is. He doesn't understand that I tell him that he's printing in his shed, or in his, he's got the printer set up that I loaned him out in his workshop. And it's like, what's the temperature? Well, it's 67 degrees. Okay, that's a little cold to print PLA on an open. The thing is, 67. It probably isn't 67 all the time. It's probably cycling, and there's because
there's this canonical. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but looking at the print failure, I'm gonna see if I can save that. Save the image. Can I save the image? There we go. He's also trying to print something that I have suggested to him is not printable. But, he's got in his head that he can make it work. But there you go. So it's, 67 degrees in the room, but the temperature is probably wildly variable. There you go. Spaghetti.
Uh,
And that's
there's
an
this,
go ahead.
oh, so there's this canonical image of how temperature affects your 3D print, and it's like this, it's this 3D printed part with these like weird cyclic, not like weird pattern waves in the Z, and it turns out that the waves are from every time the HVAC system turned on
Yep. Do
in
you have
somebody's
that?
house. I'm looking
Yep,
for it. I can't. A friend showed it to me. I'll have to dig it up.
because I'd like to. I've been. He's learning,
Yeah.
and I'd like to be able to explain it to him. And this is, what this is the lower. No, this is the upper hull of a Class F shuttlecraft that
Okay.
I took apart in Fusion, and I told him it's like the wall thickness is, and this is at 3% of the model scale.
Ooh.
And I told him your wall thicknesses are probably too thin, because I think he's only got 2 walls, maybe.
Well, you
So they're
should.
less. What's that?
So you should be able to do a double-walled print. We'll do single-walled all the time.
But it's not necessarily single wall, double wall all the way up. It's also got a ton of supports in it, and he's still trying to figure out best supports. And all I can do is give him some guidelines because I want him to learn how to do it. But he was successfully printing minis, D&D minis.
Oh, cool.
So,
With a 0.4 nozzle.
With a 0.4, yep, using the
Very cool.
0.12 layer height, 0.4 nozzle. I had the Ender dialed. This is an Ender 5 that I've been using. I printed all my Jubilee parts on it. So I had this thing dialed in really tight. And the other thing he had was, of course, right after I get it over there and he's been using it for a week, the part cooling fan fails.
Oh.
So it's like, really? So that's had some issues, but he's having problems with layer adhesion, and it's almost always, when the temperatures are consistent, like if he's printing during the daytime, especially when he was printing the other day, a couple of days ago when it was 85 degrees outside, which meant it was 75 in the 75 with the air conditioner running. But the AC is on the other side of the shop. It's not blowing on it directly. Yeah, I suggested you just put a shield around, a draft shield. Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey.
Oh, wait.
So how's the evening going?
I'm out of banana bread.
That's a crime.
It is. I have an entire banana cream pie in the refrigerator, but I can't
all
get.
is forgiven.
But I can't get to it right now. I have a 10,000-pound cat in my lap.
Oh.
Who just fell asleep. So I'm not going anywhere for a bit. Anyway, yeah, we were talking about temperatures and failed prints. I think I would love to find some actual, like, so much of what we've got is not heresy or hearsay, but anecdotal.
Heresy.
What's that? Yeah, I said heresy. The Emperor protects. Wow, 40K. Anyway, so much of what we know or think we know, unless Josh, you can correct me on this, in the community is really pretty much anecdotal.
Oh.
Butchered
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you're right.
Or we believe such, right? And the other thing, like there was this whole wave of gotta fully constrain both ends of the lead screw, without understanding why you would constrain or what kinds of constraints you put on it, right?
Oh, a really good example of this is, I'm not sure if you're on Facebook, but there is a
I am not.
DIY Okay, there's a DIY CNC machine group on Facebook, and
Uh-huh.
people will post things. They'll look for guidance, and people will descend on them and give them a bunch of anecdotal advice or tell them what they're doing is plain wrong, and then the next person will tell them what they're doing is pretty good, that they should fix something, and it's that's a lot of noise. And occasionally someone will like reference the like design manual or like the Highwind like design guidelines for how do you install a linear rail, but a lot of it is just like, oh, you're wrong because of this, or like, oh, that's a bad way to do it. And there's a lot of criticism without any like constructive information that's actually gleaned from it, and it's really really too bad. So
Yeah.
mm,
And when it comes to printing, the materials that we're working with for the most part are very inconsistent from manufacturer to manufacturer.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and I think the other thing too is that as a community, well, I guess this is again okay. So I'm about to discuss generalizations with more generalizations. Okay,
I mean,
but
that's the way to do it. Don't forget to throw some occasional at.
some occasional back when I was back in my day.
Yeah. We had to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow
Yeah,
Back.
so
and
uh,
sandstorms.
it's I think what the printer community really could use is a document that sits down and treats the machine like a design of experiment problem
Well,
where
there's the machine side of things, and then there's the medium that we're working in, which is plastic, right? And the plastics that we're working in, you'll see PETG or PET or PET all talked about the same way, and it's irrespective of what additives, um, what dyes, etc., which change all the properties, right?
oh yeah,
Like
that's something that's not really discussed a lot very well either. You're totally right because like like HTPLA like by protoplasma. Why is it that you can heat treat it, and why is it that you can't heat treat other ones?
right,
Or why is like Polymaker blue like a little bit coarser than Polymaker orange, just like consistently really smooth?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it has to do
No,
with the pigmentation.
Yeah,
I literally, some of the filaments that I work with, um, I will spend an entire day going through half a dozen prints, dialing them in, right? Going through, temperature tests. I'll do 4 or 5 temperature towers. I'll do different fan towers. I'll do, all of these things. And I step through it very methodically. I write everything down. And
yeah,
some of it is still it's a moving target, right? Because you've got multiple curves. Because how much fan you have going determines, well, you can cool the bed if the fan is too high. Certain materials print better if you're making them really, really hot and then cooling them down aggressively. But other materials, if you do that, like ABS, they have a huge amount of shrinkage, and so they seal up. And so,
Or they'll split. You'll get layer adhesion
right,
issues.
right. So working through and picking the best of all of those, right, is just a massive nightmare. And if you look at what is available, if you ever dig into like Cura and Cura settings, right,
oh my goodness.
there's, I think there's like, I'm not even talking actual like what's in the menus. I'm talking about when you dig into the filament definitions and when you dig into the actual printer definitions. There's like 3,000 lines of configuration.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about the settings, but yeah, okay, because like
Yeah.
the settings there's hundreds of settings that are hidden.
And the thing is, and most people don't realize this, when you define a machine definition, you can set formulas for any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
That's cool.
any place, so you can set min and max. One of the things that when they did the Creosum mod, right?
Yeah.
They literally went through and drilled into a bunch of different filaments and a bunch of different settings and basically have a ton of logic under the covers that say, oh, you're printing at this speed on this printer, then you should have, you know, and you're using PETG or you're using this, then this setting should be this, right? And so it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it in some ways. However, it also shrouds it all because you're like, okay, why did this just change? I changed one little setting somewhere and now I have a different infill. What is that, right?
Well, not only that, but and then Kira went and merged the Curiosity model,
Right.
Which
And
is great. But going back to what you were saying, Josh, you're right about having a document that we can. It's like we need a real good primer on treating a 3D printer as a mechanical exercise. It needs to be a reference.
Yeah.
Really good
Like,
job.
here's the parameter space, just a little bit. Here's how you can tune. Here's all the things that here are all the parameters that could affect your filament, including things like pigmentation the manufacturer puts in, additives the manufacturer puts in to make things like stringier or stiffer, and then down to the temperature you're printing it at, things like that.
And you'd have to class like environmental factors. So have a huge impact on your print quality, and a lot of people just don't, account for that. So, when I had my printer, the ender was set up here next to my desk in the office or in my dining room area. The ender actually, for the most part, lived in a closet. So it was on a table, and the ender slid back into the closet when it was running a job. So it was shielded on 3 sides. And it set back.
and it also helped keep a more stable temperature. You didn't have
exactly.
That's actually really good. Oh, go ahead.
You were saying, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of it is for historical reasons to get around patents. So the bedplate heated bedplate is a really good example because the bedplate was the way to get around a full enclosure because of the patent on full enclosures for FDM 3D printers.
And the patents are just broken. So
yeah, so knowing why that's the case is partly it's informative as to why we operate the way we do because it's like why do printers print so much better in the closet than they do in like outside in the open? And it's because you have temperature control. You have like slightly better temperature control. But it's not something that's not obvious. It's not obvious that the machine needs temperature control if it's printing. If you sell a machine that doesn't have an enclosure in it, but they had to at the time because that's what all the best they could do.
And even now there's still patents around heated enclosures. Now it's pretty clever if you pay attention. Some companies get around it by selling an enclosure that has a quote-unquote fan mount, and then they also just happen to sell a heater that plugs in that 120 fan mount.
Hey, that's actually a good idea.
You know what else I've used? I have a heater that I use with my Form 1 that I mounted inside the chamber, and it's an incubator.
Oh, is it one of those egg incubators?
Yeah, it's a 40 watt. It's got 40 watts of heater and ID controller.
About that on Hackaday.
Yeah, and I built my own bracket for it, and it snaps into place and then people have also gone and added immersion to the resin. When they were doing the Form 1s and Form 1 Pluses, they were trying to figure out a better way to be consistent on the resin. So they were actually using immersion heating elements in the tank.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And to bring it up to 85 degrees. And just to keep...
There's also patents when it comes to like different resins around controlling the atmosphere, right? Controlling whether it's a noble gas or whether it's oxygen, for instance, right? Because that changes curing times and that changes,
curing properties
and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
And
there's even patents, and this is a ridiculous one in my book, but it is a very solid patent that is still out there. There is a patent on having a bilayer or multi-layer filament.
Multi-layer? What?
So you might have a filament that has a softer exterior that bonds better with a harder core in the middle.
That's a really interesting. That's a weird one.
Yeah, or other ones that I looked at along that. There are patents around using mixed materials, so using like a PLA exterior with a CEPG interior, or vice versa.
Weird.
yeah. Now the thing is, some of those, are very specific, and the idea of moving molten plastic around is not new. We know how to do this. We've been doing injection molding for 60 years or longer, right? We know how to handle different plastics under different conditions, pressures, temperatures, cooling, with injection molding processes for a very long time. And the injection molding process is continuing to get better as we can build better molds. The ESD or ED mold cutting
Yeah.
has made some tremendous improvements, especially
Your
with
electro discharge stuff.
with your multi-part molds, and the cost has dropped significantly because of that as well. Even though the machines are much more expensive, the fact they can cut so fast and they are do it in a single pass, is amazing.
Well, and have you seen some of the demos that a couple of makers have done videos on their own EDM machines for machining, and one of the favorite ones that I saw was the guys using hardened ball bearings and drilling holes through them on the not through the center but to the side, straight through.
Was this Ben Krasno?
It might have been.
Okay.
But
yeah,
that stuff is awesome.
But the idea, but now I come at it from the gaming industry. So when you're able to do multi-part models in not in styrene, not in styrene plastic, right? But in the softer materials, and they're able to do things such like getting the mold consistency and the model consistency that you see in, say, the Reaper Bones line. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Very familiar.
Okay, so the first Reaper Bones Kickstarter, one of their things they did is they bought a new injection and had it delivered to their place in Texas. And so Reaper has been doing molding on prem instead of sending it out, and they're producing a mold, whatever their mold wrapping run time. They're dumping that set of models every 60 seconds. They're using a heated and cooled mold, so they're thermal cycling the shit out. Because they got to do a preheat and then a cool down in order to pop the figures loose. And they have ejector pins and they have multi-part. So the molds are coming apart in 3 different directions, which is pretty amazing. It's just absolutely amazing to watch. And I don't know if you've ever played with it, but SolidWorks has the flow simulation in it, the plastics. Because I've done mold design and 3D printed molds.
Okay.
So I wasn't injecting plastic, but I was injecting essentially a resin. I was trying to figure out my gate sizes and things like that, and the flow simulation. So you're also watching eddies and things like that. If you want to get a good first coat as it goes in. So it's really neat. but we know how plastic moves. We really do, and as an industry. But we as a community don't. Don't we don't
Yeah.
have the basic understandings of what we're doing with molten plastic movement, and there's such a variety of factors that are outside of the immediate control, makes it real hard to predict. So it is a real, and it is a real crapshoot. So if we could do something like put together some kind of reference where we can start isolating the factors that impact print quality and giving people real definition, concrete, empirical evidence
Mm-hmm.
and examples of this is what it looks. Every so often you'll find an infographic out there that's useful, like first layer, right? This is what it looks like when your first layer is too close. This is what it looks like when your first layer is too far.
Oh, I love those. Yeah. No, I think we need. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but that's what I was saying. Good pictures, good graphics, real photography that goes into it, so it's useful. And Luke posted this thing that he printed his variable test out, which I'm just looking at now, is really well done. Except the, his hands in it, and it's well, what I mean is the size. The hand is in it. It's at an angle instead of give us like a 3/4, a straight on view and a 3/4 view, right? And you don't need to show the whole thing. Just give us a slice of different angles at it, right? And then lay out the what the different speeds and temperatures are.
Yeah. No. This is a really cool graphic. I was just a little bit confused how the parameters were changing up the stack.
60 millimeters a second, 205. I'm not sure what.
I1.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what that is.
Oh, I wonder if it's interpolation.
Well, I don't know. I1, I0. I1, I0.
Like whether or not to use interpolation. Yeah.
He also isn't saying what slicer he's using in this. Slicers play a huge deal in all.
Well, yeah, because if you're just doing a tower, right? What's the nozzle pressure? We don't have Josh, or can you tell us what nozzle pressure we're running at?
Nozzle pressure?
Yeah. What's the pressure in the nozzle?
Oh no, I
At a
can't
given
tell you.
temperature and flow rate.
Oh, that's something that.
Ask Sanjay.
Model.
Well,
Yeah, that's a Sanjay question.
Have you looked at like the dyes, Typhoon?
No.
They actually have pressure So they've got two models. They've got a filament fed, and then they've got a pellet fed version of their hot end.
One, right? That's the ginormous one.
Ginormous.
Yeah, that's the one you put on a gantry frame and build bikes with.
Yeah. And I have a friend who's looking at it, and it actually has multiple pressure transducers, from what I understand, the length of the hot end.
Yeah, well, it's got an extruder screw.
Yeah.
You're feeding the plastic in, and it's running like an injection molding machine.
It's not quite running like an injection molding machine, but closer, right?
More like
molding machines. So injection molding machines actually use the screw to heat it up. Okay, you've got a jacket on the outside, and then as you basically are cranking it down, you're generating pressure and heat as well.
Yeah, you do also have heaters on them. People say
right, you do have heaters.
Oh yeah, no, the heaters are.
Actually, the crazy thing was recently I was on AliExpress, and there's a company that sells the circular ceramic heaters for those things. These like 6-inch ceramic heaters that are like, 2,500 watts a piece.
Yep.
Because that's the other thing. When you're doing injection molding, you're, shooting a huge amount of plastic in a second or so.
Oh yeah.
Like,
There's a reason they called a shot.
yeah.
Every time you do a mold, you're taking a shot.
But yeah, I was very curious when I saw their design, because one of the things that the E3D classic V6 design is that you have a large cool section, and then you just have a very hot section that you are keeping small, right? And then if you need to have more flow, you have like the volcano, and you have a very, you basically just make that section larger, right? And I've been curious about what kind of a multi-stage controlled, and that's the other thing is that right now we have a single heater element at the bottom of the of the filament path. My thought has been, well, what if you have multiple along the way, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you're working glass transition temperature, right?
Right.
To after your glass transition temperature, you've got to go to the next stage where you hit molten, but your flow rate through the heater, and that's where some of the people are. A couple of folks out there who started doing how fast can you print, and you run a series of tests on your machine to see how much heat you can actually deliver to the filament at a given rate, and what your flow rates are. Okay, that's
I think there are calculators.
Yep.
The flex drive stuff. One of the things that I've seen with them is I've seen guys print at upwards of 200 millimeters a second.
Yeah.
And that just seems, you watch a normal printer print, and then you watch those things running, and you're like, holy hell, how does that machine not shake apart?
Well, somebody was running. I watched a short video where he was running a test. And he was printing at
Sorry, what was that? You broke
he was
up.
printing 500 millimeters a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually he's shown up in the Discord a few times. He's got a tool lock on it. He's using a tool changer.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing liquid cooling on all the motors.
Oh my goodness.
Liquid cooling on the hot end. So we also had, I think we had a brief discussion that somebody was trying to put. And it's like your LEDs. I want to run these at 80 degrees. It's like your LEDs will melt.
Oh yeah, I've seen the comment earlier.
Yeah, that's Kevin.
Yeah, it was Kevin. So but the idea is like, yeah, you could do it. What you do is you get an aluminum tube with a flat side on it. A thin aluminum tube with a flat side on it, and you run your LEDs on it, and you liquid cool your LEDs. You run a chiller through the back of it, and you keep the LEDs below 50 degrees. You really need to keep them below 30 degrees, but there you go. Because the hotter they get, the less efficient they are.
Yeah.
Generate a lot of heat on the run. And while I was looking for that, I found a guy who was doing 100 LEDs for his grow light in his greenhouse, and he was trying to use like spot or cool heater water blocks from a PC, and one of his just said, "Why don't I just cut you an aluminum block with water channels in it, and you just water cool the entire block?" So he's got a 6-inch long, 3-inch wide aluminum block with 300-watt LED arrays on it, and he just fills the whole thing about 28 degrees, starting with 17-degree water. But yeah, I mean, water blocks are not a new science. It's pretty easy thermodynamics. We don't, and the efficiencies, we don't have to get so far down into the weeds there. Like we're not developing I'm not working on a power plant, right? We're just trying to remove enough heat to keep the thing cool. And generally, we have lots of excess cooling, right? Did you ever see Alex's jankiest water-cooled hot end video?
Yeah.
Josh, I think you'd find that amusing. Did we lose Josh?
Oh, I'm here. I'm fading, so I might have to take off.
Okay.
Chat. It's probably time that I go to bed early.
All right.
Well,
Get rid of this.
Okay, wake up. If you have something you want to drift off to sleep through, check out Alec Kennis's jankiest hot end water cooling ever. It is a fun video, and he ends up doesn't even have a heat exchanger. It's just sitting in a cup at the top of the heater.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And it works. And it works well.
He was working on a really cool video series, and then basically had, I believe, identity theft, and then a computer die around at the same time, and then he lost a bunch of the stuff that he had produced. He'd done like dozens and dozens of tests on different kinds of fans and ducts, and gone through it very scientifically to kind of help.
They had a problem with electrical that blew out the electrical in his building and the next one, and it blew right through all the surge protectors and took out his. That was recently.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he's got an interesting video on the jankiest hot end cooler ever, and it's only about 15 minutes long.
Yeah, he
All
produced a bunch of these little videos as kind of like, well, I lost all the big work, so you guys can have some fun and watch this while I redo all of the big work all over it.
And while my wife lets me do it.
Right.
All right. It's about time I disappear.
Go.
We'll catch up with all of you in the future.
Have a night.
have a good night.
Cheers. Good luck.
All right.
Close.
So close.
All right.
We're almost
Talk
ready
to you
to be
tomorrow.
on.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
So how's things going on all your wiring fun?
Almost there. I just gotta wire up
Printer.
these two wires and I can power it on.
So which one is the hot end? Which one is the cold end? Or which one is load and which one's neutral?
I have no idea. I was kind of wondering that myself, actually.
Okay, here's how you do it. All right. Pop your fuse out. Get your multimeter.
Well, I was just gonna look up the documentation, but I guess I can do that.
Tell you. I mean, you can. So.
All right.
Quick and dirty way is you pop the fuse out.
Okay.
Right. Turn it on. Throw the switch into the on position, and then check continuity between the pin on that side and the pin on the other side, or the spade terminal. So to log on in the outlet, one of them will be passed through, the other one will not. The one that passes through is the load side, is the hot wire. Or the one that does not pass through is the hot wire.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying
This
to say.
one should be ground, right?
So the top one is ground, and that should go straight through. Right? And then the left one and then the right one. So one of them is going to be continuity.
Yeah, the one that I'm on right now is no continuity.
Okay. And the other one does?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other one, the one that has continuity is your neutral, and the one that does not have continuity is your load. because your load is fused. Your hot wire is fused. Okay.
Sounds good.
And your switch is a double pole switch. So if you turn it off, they should both be they should both be open. I have words. I mostly know how to use them. I've also lost my remote. When I dropped the iPad, the remote went flying across the room somewhere.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that way if your fuse blows, it opens your hot side.
Great. That way you don't accidentally touch it when your fuse blows or touch something, and then you become the ground path.
That would be bad.
All right. My frame appears to be grounded.
I've had that problem occur in the past with a PC that somebody built, and things weren't properly done, and the case was not properly grounded as well. And so I was working on the computer, opened the case, leaned over to touch something, and the case touched me, and I became the path to ground.
Oh, so you did the 60 cycle shuffle.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, probably not as fun as, I mean, it's a low voltage.
It's an interesting sensation, isn't it?
It's only 120 volts. It's not that bad.
I was kind of skeptical that I was going to get continuity across the whole frame, considering the way it's bolted together.
The only thing you're going to have, your bed is electrically isolated. So the bed needs its own ground.
Yeah, it's grounded.
Yeah, but everything else in your bed, everything else in there, has electrical conductivity to it, continuity to it. Because your rails don't electrically isolate the components like V-slot wheels do. So if you're running a V-slot machine with wheels, you have to basically run a ground to each of the major components. So your X gantry gets a ground on it, and your carriage gets a ground on it, as well as your frame, because, well, they're isolated. Oh,
the X gantry gets a ground on it?
Yeah, so in a bed slinger, right?
Doesn't have any electrical connections to it.
It doesn't, unless you've got a broken wire in your hot end that drags across it. So it's just a matter of it's not isolated, or it is isolated, and it's not grounded. So you could potentially generate a charge. So it's just better to keep everything. It's not hard to hit it. You just run it to run a lead to.
That's not happening right now.
Oh, yours is fine. You don't need it. You don't need that in yours because you have you're using rails, right? Rails are electrically conductive across the rail.
Let me see.
Yeah, Eric, what he was talking about is if you have like V slots and you have the Delrin or Palm wheels, they're not conductive, and so your gantry itself, whatever's riding on that gantry or the gantry itself is isolated.
How about that?
What?
You're right. It is grounded.
Yep. So, Steve, did you see the pictures I posted of my bed sandwich?
Sounds delicious, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Check in the live stream.
Oh, yeah.
Is that massive or what?
What printer is this for?
This is for a CR10S5. This is the bed I built for it. I need to finish potting the wires. That's going to get a squirt of RTV right there, just to hold them in place. But yeah, that bed is so it's a 4mm flat aluminum plate. The Canovo heater, 6mm of cork because I could get 2mm or 6mm, and I just like.
Okay.
And the price difference was, I would have needed there was $4 difference between the 2mm and the 6mm
Yeah.
for the size of the sheet that I got, and I was like, why don't I just get the bigger one? Because I needed 5. So there's that, and then there's another. The first bed plate I got for this machine was warped pretty badly, so I used it as a clamping plate on the backside, and then it got the reinforcement frame, which I may or may not need, but it's what's used to clamp the whole sandwich together.
Nifty.
So this thing is, and then it's going to get a magnetic sheet and a flexible steel plate.
Is this 500 millimeter?
Yeah, it's 510 on the side.
Yeesh.
So the idea is once I finish this one and get it sold, I'm going to use the parts of it, or use that cash to start buying parts, or start finishing the design and then start buying parts for the Jubilee or Jubilee. It's gonna be
Jolly Green Giant.
Well, it's going to be a tool changer, but it's going to have a 500 by 500 by 750 build volume.
Yeah.
Built on the Jubilee platform. The side loops of the frame are going to be built out of 4040s. Crossbars are going to be 2040s.
Nifty. I've contemplated before what it would be like to build a heated bed like you build a good chef's pan, right?
Well,
so
I mean,
a lot of good chef's pans will have layers of, for instance, my favorite pans that I have, the bottom plate is copper,
Yep.
and that's so that it has high conductivity and it evens out the heat, right? But then the problem that you have typically with pure copper pans is they have hot spots because of that. So it then has a layer of cast iron or steel. So it's basically copper, steel, aluminum, and then steel
Okay.
in my
Yeah.
plates.
Telephone, right?
Yeah. So it's
That's the brand you're using?
one of them. So it's very, very, very consistent temperatures across the bottom. And I've literally thought about what if somebody built, a heated bed around those things. Now the only thing is that honestly for that kind of thing, because you have different metals, different expansion rates, you don't want to just
Yeah.
heat it up and let it, all go. That's one of the things that I've gone back and forth about with 3D printing is it better to bring your bed up to temperature a little bit more slowly and let it even out over time, or
Well, it depends
dump
on
the
what
full 750 watts at it and
depends on what your bed is made. So if for the Jubilees, we're using Mix 6, right?
right.
And Mix 6 has a really, really small thermal expansion coefficient.
Yeah.
Young's modulus, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a stabilized alloy, right? And it's stressed, it's de-stressed.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing we might do there, though, is a soak period prior to print.
Right.
Right.
Well, and then the other thought that I have is that not necessarily bringing, like most printers, they bring the bed all the way down to nothing between prints, right? Like my existing printer, it'll hit the end of the print and it's like, oh, I'm done, and it turns the bed off. And
well, yeah, and there's a reason for that too. So, if you're using the bed plate the build plate that's such where it releases as it cools.
I'm using a magnetic build plate that I pop off.
Yeah, so worst thing you need to do is, you could set it in the G-code to go to a standby.
Right. That's exactly what I'm probably going to do on the Jubilee. Is just be like, you know what? Go to a standby temp.
Yeah.
Now I did learn a lesson with my current printer the other day that was kind of comical.
I mean, don't set it on fire.
No. I was printing that OBC filament,
Yeah.
which I gotta send your guys stuff out here as soon as I can find stamps.
No
Because
worries.
the world is shutting down. And I just haven't had time to get to the post office because plague. But that stuff, you have to have the print bed at almost 100 degrees.
Yeah.
For it to stick. And so, and then you want a polypropylene bed material that you're trying to print on for your surface. So
Okay.
it turns out that packing tape is perfect. And then what you do is you do 2 layers of packing tape because that stuff sticks to polypropylene like you super glued it in place. In fact, I had prints that basically were failures because I couldn't get it off the tape, and then when I did, I tore the print.
Yeah.
Right? So some of those I tossed. But the thing that I did with this one that's kind of, when I was doing that was kind of comical, is without thinking about it. Normally when my print bed's at like 50 or 60 degrees Celsius, I have no problem like reaching over with my hand and popping the plate off.
You burnt the snot out of your...
I reached over and I grabbed the edge of the bed and like popped the plate off and had the whole thing on my hand, and then my brain went, that's 100 degrees Celsius, right?
You just stuck your hand in boiling water. Congratulations. So here's a thing that I am half tempted to do. Is we've got the lighting aspect that we can pick off the duet, or you've got other like the SKS. Is I want to put in a safety loop that basically, if it's above 50 degrees, you have a bed indicator. If the bed's above, whatever temperature you call it as your safe temperature, it's got a red light on. It's illuminated.
So I've actually seen some Octoprint scripts where people do this with their lights in their house. They'll use your
hue or something.
Hue light, and they'll change the color of the lights by their printer, whether or not it's printing, whether or not it's hot, whether or not it's on.
I think, maybe I'm overthinking it, but that kind of just safety warning, caution, bed is hot. Even if it was just a 3D enclosure that has a light that's in it that you can direct to be on or off. Just as if it's red, green, hot or cold, because just that kind of reminder would probably save some injuries.
Yeah.
Every warning label out there is because somebody did it.
So, I'll have to tell you guys the story sometime when we're not on a live stream about me and a pot of spaghetti.
I heard that.
Yeah, my fiance laughed because she knows what it is, and it's funny because it's happened to me not once in my life but twice.
You really shouldn't put those things into a pot of spaghetti.
Yeah, it's a bad thing.
Just go ahead.
You can almost burn your house down with a pot of spaghetti.
If you can burn spaghetti, right?
Oh yeah, it lights really well. Let me tell you.
Did you fail to put water in the pot?
Oh no, there was water in there at the start.
At the start, at one point, you can also burn a salad.
No, I've never tried that, but I imagine it's got cellulose. It can get crispy.
Oh, I was talking about pasta salad, but okay.
I mean, people burn kale in a oven and call it a snack. So.
Well, it's like onigiri or not onigiri, but
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
a big fan of that either.
nigiri. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like seaweed snacks, seaweed chips. Dude, you are so gonna fall in. Never mind, just let him. He's cat. He is sprawled on the couch, but he is like drooping down the front of the couch.
Oh, don't worry. My dog is currently sitting on my girlfriend's lap, laying on his side, and she's in the lounge chair, and he's got his head on the very edge of the thing. It looks like he's just gonna like slide off of the chair onto the floor face first.
Well, it happens. I'm just waiting for initial power on. Now, do you have the firmware loaded?
How could I load the
No.
firmware? I haven't powered it on yet.
Oh, there you go. Good call. Good call. Do you have the fire extinguisher standing?
There's one upstairs. Guess I could bring it down.
Not a criticism of your wiring. Just, you know. Oh, so quick
Hey, I've
thing.
been working on a project before and have the whole room go dark, so you know.
Yeah. So before you go too much farther and have gotten yourself in a position where you can't reach it, what voltage is your power supply set?
I checked it. It's 120.
Okay.
Or 110, really.
Okay.
There.
Wait, you're done?
Yeah.
Cool.
Time to let the angry pixies in.
Here, I'll snap a picture for you.
Angry pixies. Okay.
You haven't heard AVE refer to it as that?
I had not, but I think that's amusing. Okay.
Not
So,
a huge fan of the little knot of wires in this corner, but it's as good as I can do it.
yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do there.
Yeah, it's
And you have a terminal cover. All right. So I made a terminal cover for the Meanwell power supply that snaps over it because it doesn't have a flip down cover on the Meanwell.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll throw it into my my repository when I
Yeah,
get free of my chair.
this has a terminal cover, but I would like to cover the whole area with something at some point.
Yeah.
Take a look at how much. I think you could make a plate that goes all the way across, like another piece of plastic or something.
Yeah.
Just have to have slots cut in it for the fan or for the fan slots on the power supply.
I bought some extra plastic. I have some plastic that could go there, but you'd have to make a cutout for the tool changer because that sticks out too far. And also, the way he recommended you mount the stepper motors has the wires coming out the wrong side for that. So I'd have to.
Oh, just rotate the steppers. Just pop
Well,
them out.
yeah, I can, but then I have to retension the CoreXY, and I don't feel like it right now.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that all apart when the aluminum upgrade becomes available, and I can do that kind of thing then, because I'll have to be taking them off anyway.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about the aluminum upgrade, and I had a rather funny idea the other day, and that
Uh-oh.
would be to basically make a mold and then cast epoxy granite instead.
If you could cast the entire thing in epoxy granite.
Yeah.
If
But
that's
like
what you do,
basically make epoxy granite plates.
I suppose you could do that.
You
Um,
set the you
oh
set
no,
your heat set inserts or your inserts in it and make a mold around it essentially and then pour it.
yeah. I figure if you're going to do it, it needs to have Gothic carvings in the side.
Here you go, Brian.
Little gargoyles.
I mean, yeah, you build the machine and it's got gargoyles. Thank you. I'm terrible. I'm sorry.
Just hope it's the correct kind of extinguisher too.
Oh, that's PKP. That's powder. That's a powder extinguisher. If you have to use it, what's that?
I'm going to ask you. Do you know what those look like when they're going off?
Yes.
A mess.
Do you know what those look like when they're going off in a hotel hallway in New York City at 2 in the morning?
No, I can't say that, but do you know what they look like when they're going off at a submarine?
Yeah, a lot more worrying in that case.
Yeah, pretty much. They also we cleaned for 6 months.
Yeah, I could see that.
And switchgear that you discharge one into. I mean, the fire was out, but the entire switchgear had to be replaced. It wasn't. There's a reason a halon system in it.
Yeah, I have a friend, speaking of halon systems, you know how you can't have them anymore, right? But if you did have one,
don't tell the Navy.
Right. They got a little bit of an exception to that, right?
Yeah, there's some system, especially. Yeah.
So the comical part is I have a friend who, during his Y2K testing back in the day, they were testing and through all the breakers for everything.
Yeah.
Making sure the battery backups were coming on. And they kicked a breaker off. And it just happened to be that a fire sensor tripped because they kicked the breaker off. And so the halon system thought that their data center was on fire. And he said you could watch as all the operators that were in the data center jump up and run across the room to try to hit the dead breaker to turn it off. Unfortunately, they did not make it in time, and the entire system discharged.
Yep.
In a 20,000 square foot data center.
Oh yeah. Yep. Everybody leaves right now. Do not go. Do not collect $200. Get out.
So then the
fun
part was they get everybody out, and their boss comes back in and says, "Okay, well, what do we need to do to get things back up?" And they're like, "Well, no, you don't understand. We can't refill that. That was it. We now have to replace it."
Yeah.
And so they ended up spending a whole boatload of cash to basically go replace the halon system with something else.
Yeah, there are things to be said about that. Halon is pretty effective. Halon is super effective. That's why it works so well.
Little tiny ones, the size of like a can of juice, in a truck for engine fires.
The thing is, it doesn't really work unless you have a confined space.
Right.
Which is really, really, really effective in magazines. So, but they also have a seawater flood system too for that if they need to.
So what's halon do to you that makes it illegal now?
Halon is actually inert. It doesn't directly hurt you. It just displaces oxygen.
Yeah, it's
very effective.
Slightly heavier than air and displaces oxygen, and you don't want to be there because you need oxygen.
The problem is if you inhale
That's just a popular theory.
Yeah, I know. It's fake news. It's like climate science. Okay. Is your switch off?
I haven't plugged it in yet.
No, I just was asking if the switch was off. Because you had it on earlier.
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And we're watching.
I was going to say, electricity on? Just, use a
it's
finger.
on.
No, I'm just debating on whether I should try to hook up the display on the Pi, because I don't have a panel due.
Well,
let's plug it in.
Do you have the Pi Duet the Pi Duet software loaded on the Pi?
Nope, I haven't done anything with any of it yet.
Okay.
So, I want to see. Here, let me turn it towards the camera. That way you can watch the flames in high def.
I don't think we're going to get flames. I just would like to see lights come on.
Me too.
Is it still? Okay, that's cool.
No, I haven't flipped the switch yet. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but there are pretty lights.
Pretty blinking lights.
I see
Here.
blinking lights,
Here, I'll help.
and the Pi is on. Does it have do you have a software load on it?
I have not done anything with any of the Pi or the Duet yet.
Okay.
Like
Well,
when I said I haven't done anything with it, I mean I literally have not touched it. I don't know what to do. So.
I just wanted to make sure that the angry pixies go from the wall to the little
Oh
boxes.
shoot! You know what? I forgot one thing. I do not
What's
have
that?
a CAN bus cable on here.
Oh, well, that would do it.
Ah.
Did you find the CAN bus cable we talked about?
Oh, I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but I have a CAN bus cable.
It's the it's the ADSL cable that we.
I remember talking about it. I don't remember exactly what it is or what we concluded, but I bought a pre-manufactured cable because I couldn't find just cable, but I'll probably shorten it at some point because I did buy connectors.
I mean, they're just RJ11s. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, cable's really long, so.
Angry Pixies! Yay!
So I love my fiance. She just walked by me and said, "Do you remember lunch boxes?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, when we had to go places to eat lunch and take it with us and stuff. Yeah.
Hasn't been that long.
I have a
Jeez.
lunchbox.
I have a couple of bench
Well,
boxes.
not exactly a box. It's more like a collapsible pail. Well, there we go. Now I have the CAN bus. Done.
We got blinking lights. We got more blinking lights. Nice.
And it's midnight, so I don't probably want to open this can of worms.
No, you don't want to get started on this. What you can do is download the Duet Pi, or the Pi Duet software, and go ahead and get the full install, because you're planning on hooking up a panel. So if you get the full install, it'll be available. You'll have the graphic interface and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna start reading through what I need to do for the everything.
Yeah, it took about for me it took about 30 minutes to download it. So
Yeah, looking good.
there you go.
Here, I'll snap a nice high-res picture for it. What is on the back of my phone?
Yeah, so that you see that spaghetti mess that's on there in the Steve?
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. That's
Spaghetti mess.
a friend of mine who's trying to print. And it gets to about that part and turns into spaghetti.
I thought you were talking about the back of my printer for a second. I'm like, what's spaghetti?
No, it's not.
Eric's was gonna get all upset there.
I was gonna be sad. Other than the CAN bus cable, everything is about as good as I could possibly make it.
Yeah, and the CAN bus cable is something you can make. You can make one of those.
Yeah, I'll make a better one.
It's not all in nylon. Come on. I'm just giving you a hard time.
There's a full picture of my back panel.
Looks good. You like those stick-on tie-down spots?
Yeah, I used 2 of the kind that you can undo and redo.
Okay.
What do you, reusable zip ties?
Are they the ones down at the bottom?
No, there's only one on the back, and then there's one holding the bed cable inside the printer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good image. I just clicked on it. It opens up and gives you a really good view of everything.
It looks really nice.
Oh, I will be changing the way the Pi is mounted as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't really want to have it on 50mm standoffs forever. Here, let me take a side picture for you.
One of the things you could do with the Pi, if you really wanted to, is just flip it over and turn it, rotate it, top to bottom. So, your USB and Ethernet will be on the same side, right? But your connectors will point down.
It's an interesting thought.
And just put it face down. Now, I'd also throw some heat sinks on the processor and the. I'd consider either throw some heat sinks on the processor.
Does the Pi really get that hot?
Yeah.
Huh.
The Pi does need some cooling.
That's
but
strange.
Not really. So it can draw 3 amps of power.
Well, the other Pis you could put in an enclosure, little enclosures all the time without putting any heat sinks or anything on them.
Yeah, they also tend to shut. This one's got 4 cores in it, and it's running at a higher clock speed. So Pi 4s tend to run a bit hot. Explaining Computers has got a good review on cooling the Pi 4.
Well, you could have told me this before the apocalypse happened. Now I don't know if I could get a heatsink for that.
You probably have a heatsink that'll work.
Might have a stepper one floating around somewhere if I could find it.
But yeah, if you just throw a heatsink on there, or a little, I use a little 5-volt fan on mine, but it wouldn't take anything to do that. So they've got some aluminum cases that they make for the Pi now. That it's an enclosure case, but it's got thermal pads in the case that come down on the dies. So the whole case becomes a heatsink.
Yep.
Have you seen that one? And it looks really good.
So hey guys, I got it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just flip the Pi over, you can manage that cable too. So.
I think I have a solution actually.
Oh, okay.
I just need to actually design and print something for it as well.
Good night, Steve.
Night, guys.
Good night. Found tons of.
So you're gonna design a print for it?
Yeah. Well, I might just do. Ow.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Something just poked me.
You don't really need it until you start putting a load on it, but because it's just like, because right now you're not even running an operating system. It's sitting there trying to boot.
Right. Unless I steal one of the heat sinks off of an old piece of electronics, I have no idea where I'd have a little heat sink like that. I've got some of them on a room. It came with the original big box electronics.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have. Well, actually, I do. I do have thermal pieces for it.
Meow. Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Yep. Back up. There you go. So cats don't back up very well. They don't like going backwards. He was very concerned about it. I find it amusing that Amazon Prime is really pushing things like books and movies and music and not items right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, you go to order something and it's like, okay, that'll be in like a month.
And we'll have it there in a week and a half.
No, a lot of the stuff I've looked at is like 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes even longer, like
Yeah.
into May. And not even like the stuff that people have been buying for hoarding purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, see, like here's a Pi 4 heatsink kit, but it's April 21st.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. April 21st is the delivery time. You know, and if it takes a while, it takes a while, right?
What gets me is a lot of this stuff says it's in stock, but it's still going to be April 21st.
I think that's their default time right now because they don't know how long it's going to take them to get stuff to people.
That's fair, I suppose.
Like now this is interesting. $30. I don't know if that's got the actual touchscreen or not. A 3.5-inch touchscreen case with fan for Raspberry Pi 4.
Ooh, that's a cool looking Raspberry Pi 4 thing.
You're looking at one of the aluminum cases.
Yeah.
It's got all the fins and whatnot on it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at, actually.
And a couple of fans, or
There is one with a couple of fans, but they take up pins that basically
probably.
some of the pins that are, well, the whole thing, I'd have to get 5 volts off of the Duet probably.
Actually, you can pick. There's let's see. There's a 5-volt header on the Pi itself that's not on the GPIO. But yeah. Ooh, this one's nice.
Do you think it's really that necessary to have such a massive heatsink on it?
No, you just need a little bit. You just need a little, just not a huge one. Yeah, April 21st, extended delivery time. Everything is extended delivery time. There's the Raspberry Pi 4 armor case. I think the GPIO is available. Where's the fans? But the fans are trying to plug into the 5-volt. So but they have but they make one that's similar to it.
Yeah, I'll just order one of these and roll the dice.
Do you see the Makertronics one that's in copper?
I haven't.
Golden Armor. It's Makeronics Raspberry Pi 4 Model B Golden Armor cake.
For $7, there's enough heat sinks here for like 5 pies.
That sounds about right. Yeah, there's the Golden Armor cake. Yeah, that's really. Does it have a fan? No, it doesn't. What? Oh.
Some of the orders, or some of the things I placed orders for, tell me I'm going to get it in a couple days.
Yeah, it just depends on which. I guess it depends on which one it's coming from.
I do have a warehouse right near me, like within probably 30 minutes or so.
So
like,
if it's at a local warehouse, you can get it right away.
Yeah, like I just ordered a set of the M5 T-slot, or basically I was running out of nuts, so I dropped some, or I bought some those, and that says they'll be here by where'd that go? Thursday.
Yeah, pretty much everything that I see that I'm looking at shows that it's not going to be available until April.
But who knows? Maybe I'll get it sooner than that.
Yeah, maybe.
I've been trying to get a hold of some isopropyl alcohol, but good luck.
Yeah, might just have to brew some and distill it. Excuse me.
I like DIY, but that might be a little much for me at the moment.
I don't have a still. I have a lab. Right? Not a still, it's a laboratory.
Indeed. I do call this room my lab.
Oh, so you're an evil mad scientist?
What's that?
So you're an evil mad scientist?
I didn't say I was in evil lab. Well, I have my workshop out in the garage. I have my lab here and with all the 3D printer stuff. And then I don't know what you want to call the other room where I have my laser.
Your backup lab?
Lab extension. Well, hello, Pooch.
Somebody come say hello?
Yep. Meet Oscar.
Hello, Oscar. Oscar's like, I'm beautiful.
Yeah, he's a good dog. Kind of goofy, but good.
Goofy's not bad.
Oh, I just like sitting here and staring at it. All right, let me shut this
I am
off.
trying to decide if I'm just going to take some days off.
All right. So what do I need to download again? Let's see. Something on the
So
Duet
go to
web
the Duet.
page, right?
Yeah, let's go to Duet webpage.
Okay.
And then go to the Duet 3.
Duet web control. Oh, I've got myself stuck in the mire somewhere. Hold on. 3. Here we go.
All right, and then you want to
Setup
go to the
guide?
doc. That'd be part of it, yeah. So start with the setup guide, but if you want to slide down to get for your Duet 3, getting started with Duet 3. So it should be Dazuki Duet 3D Wiki getting started with Duet 3. That's where you should be.
Yeah, that's the setup guide.
Okay. So there's the optional extras, the wiring diagram tells you how to set it all up.
I don't know
Right?
how to do that.
Yep. Running in standalone mode, doing that. With the attached Pi, you can update the firmware and Duet web controller usually. Great. So if you go down a little bit farther, see where it says Duet software framework on Raspberry Pi.
Ah, here we go. Yep.
Okay, so you see the links for Duet Pi. It's a Debian image based on Raspbian.
Yeah.
So if you get the Duet Pi instead of the Duet Pi Lite, you'll have the user interface that you can hook up to a display.
Right. I kind of need that.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought a panel do, but then I returned it because I'm like, why would I? Because I didn't want to try to have two screens on it. I thought that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't need a panel do if you got the Pi on.
That's kind of what I thought. So is that all I have to download? I feel like there should be more.
Nope. Duet Pi is what you're going to need. After it's downloaded, then you're going to flash it. You're going to burn it onto a SD card you're going to use.
A what? SD card? Okay, yeah, I got plenty.
You've got an SD card for the Pi, right?
I've got SD cards all over the place. And
Okay.
I did have one specifically set aside for this Pi somewhere.
So you're going to need one for the Pi.
Mm.
You're going to download this image, then you'll use something like Boolean Etcher or WinImager or something like that to flash the image to the card.
I'm going to need what now?
You're going to need a tool to flash the image you download to the SD card. There's a link for the Raspberry Pi instructions there. It'll give you instructions on how to do that.
Okay, what was that? Oh. What software? Ah, okay. Once downloaded, use flashing application like WinDisk or I don't know what the difference is between those two programs. Which do you have?
Go ahead and get Etcher. Etcher is super easy.
The Balena Etcher?
Yep. You see the link for the official Raspberry Pi instructions?
Yes.
That'll give you good step-by-steps on how to set that up. But you don't have to do it tonight.
No, I was just initiating the download. Since I'll be working from home, maybe I'll, once in a while, come in here and if there's something that will, I don't know, is there something I have to set up that will take a while for it to flash, like firmware-wise or something?
No, the flashing this to the SD only takes about five minutes or so.
Okay, so I don't need to set that up ahead of time. I can just kind of worry about that when I can sit down and do it properly.
Once you've got that downloaded and you flashing software, after you flash it to the SD card, before you put it in your Pi, you're going to want to remount it and then follow the instructions to update your WPA supplicant on the SD card.
Do what?
So so what you'll do is it's the Wi-Fi connection.
Is this not part of the instructions on the web page?
It is. So
Oh,
follow
okay.
the Raspberry Pi instructions, and then you're going to go to the section of the instructions on the Raspberry Pi side
Mhm.
about setting up Wi-Fi headless. Okay?
Okay.
Because what you can do is you can actually, before you put the SD card in the Pi to boot the Pi from it, you can edit this file in the boot partition of the SD card, and when the Pi boots up, it'll grab that and put it where it needs to go in order to activate the Wi-Fi. So once you get the Pi connected and running, you'll be able to do something. You'll be able to open up an SSH connected to it without having a display on it.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest, like everything with the Raspberry Pi is a little foreign to me.
Are you familiar with Linux?
I've booted up Ubuntu before.
Okay, well, that's effectively what you're doing. It's just a single board computer running a Debian version of Linux.
Right, I figure as much. I was just no, I'm just saying like I've just in general like setting all that stuff up, I'll follow the guide. I really have no foreknowledge of any of how that stuff works. I think
Okay.
I've booted a Raspberry Pi up before once upon a time, but I never really did much with it. Booted it up mostly as a curiosity.
Okay.
I always think I'm going to do all these things and never do. But okay, so I will have a place to get started with the firmware stuff tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
Alrighty then.
Thank you for your help, and I'll talk to you tomorrow if you're on.
Sure thing. Catch up with you later.
Yep, have a good night.
Yeah, I got a stack of work tomorrow, so hopefully I should be done by like 5 or 6 o'clock. Talk to you later. Good night.
Yep, good night.